morning. Welcome to NTV Teasing Nyumbani. My name is Peter. It's a beautiful day. Hope you're ready. Body weight is the name of the game. That's what we're still pushing on today. Nafanya more of a full body exercise today. We're concentrating on strength. And we're only doing 3 exercises. Okay, we're only focusing on 3 exercises. We're going to do them in a different routine. We don't need any equipment, just your gym mat and yourself. Alright, so to start us off, we're going to do a warm-up. We start with jumping jacks. We're doing 30. These are jumping jacks. We're doing 30 of that. After the jumping jacks, we're going in for mountain climbers. These are mountain climbers. We're going in for that. Then we will finish off with something we call the groiners. Okay, 3 warm-ups, 30 of each. Are you ready? Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. 10 more. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. Good job. From there, we're going in for the mountain climbers. Then we'll finish off with 10 groiners. Mountain climbers, remember rule, shoulder and palm be parallel. We good? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20, 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 30. Good job. From there, you can get the groiners. Now, with the groiners, you're going in as if you're going for a push-up, right? So you stand on a push-up or a full plank position, then you jump outside your hands. So jump as close as you can to your hands, but on the outer side. Okay, I'll demonstrate. So I'm here, there, then I step back. Demonstrate again, there, then I step back. Okay, very good. Opens your hips. Very nice exercise. Let's go. And a good warm up as well, especially for the lower body. We good? So 10 counts. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job. So I'm back to your one. We're heading straight to our first exercise. Like I've said, we are only have 3 exercises. Each exercise, we're doing 3 sets of 10 reps. Then we push to 3 sets of 12 reps. Then we push for another 3 sets of 14 reps. So whether the time allows us or not, that is the workout. Okay. So we're starting the push-ups. So we're going in for 10 push-ups. Beginners, like I said, give me the best you can. Place your knees down, just take your body up and down. Okay? Intermediate and the advanced, I'm sure you can hack it. So let's do this. 10 reps, 10 counts, let's go. Alafu lala chini, inua mkono hapo. 1, good. Chini, 2, chini, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job. First exercise, okay? Second exercise, we're going in for burpees. We're doing 10 burpees. From the burpees, Tunaingia sit-ups. 10. Okay, let's do this. 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfecto. From there, tunaenda chini, tunaingia sit up. Now, with the sit ups, takuweke miguu pamoja. Okay? Like your soles, sit there clapping. If you can clap. Okay? So shikanisha miguu nyuma. Heels together. Then you're going down, and you come back up. Up. Alright? That's the count. You ready? Let's do this. 10 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Set one down. You're only going to take 10 seconds to breathe out. You start the second set. Alright? Like I said, you can build a lot of muscles still using the body weight exercises. Vary the exercise, increase the intensity of the muscles, the tension of the muscles. So that means you take a shorter break. Number 4, do high-ups as well. Number 5, try introduce new things into your workout session. Good stuff. Tunaanza tena bado, push-ups, 10 counts. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good stuff. So just take it on. Burpees, 10 reps. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one. 10. Sit-ups. Twende chini. How are you feeling? Are you good? We're pushing it for 10 reps. Let's do this. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good job. Second set, done. Cut into that set. Okay? This is the third set and the last set for the 10 reps. Then we start another new set where we're going in now for 12 reps. Same exercises, just the 3 exercises, just that we're variating the reps. Are you good? 10 push-ups. Breathe. Out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Are you good? I think I feel well rested. I can do it. Go. Let's do this. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's tough. You need to strengthen that tricep or chest muscle. Okay? Good. Burpees. 10 reps. Let's do this. 1. Go on your pace, take your time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Easy peasy. Down. Good job. From there tunaenda chini tena. Going in for the sit-ups. How are you feeling? So najua tu napenda very short minimum breaks. Okay. Push that. Push it up. Breathe out. Here hakuna weight. It's only your own body weight. So 10-15 seconds breather is enough. Okay? We start. This is the last set we're done. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job. So we're done with the first 3 sets of 10 reps. Now we're starting the other set, which is now of 12 reps. So still doing the same exercises, but now the reps go up by 2. Okay, our target is to hit it till 14. I hope the time allows. If it does not allow, please make sure you hit it till the 14th rep. Good job. So tunaanza na push up, 12 reps. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey, 10, 11, 20, 11. Sorry, I'd forgotten. And 12. Sorry about that. It's 12 reps. 12 reps. Good. We start off with the burpees. 12 burpees. We get. Breathe. Out. Breathe in. Out. Good job. Let's do this. 12 reps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 more. 1, 2. How are you feeling? Breathe. Are you okay? 12 reps for the sit-ups. We finish the first set. stuff. Breathe. Relax. We'll give you a few more seconds to breathe. Catch your breath. If you want to gargle your mouth with some water, this is the opportunity before we start this 12 reps. Are you good? I'm okay. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2 more, 1 and 2. Perfecto. You okay? You good? Good job. Breathe kidogo. Start the second set. Lazima tumalize na tuanze ya 14 kidogo, si ndio? Me and you, best teammates in the morning. Let's do this now. Second set, push-ups, 12 reps. Let's go, my people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Good job. From there, and get burpees for 12 reps. You good? Now stop. Still. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 more. 1, 2. Good job. Fettuccine. Sit. Doing your sit-ups for 12 reps. Okay? Breathe. 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 Let's count. Good. Let's do this 12 reps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 more. 1 and 2. Second set done. We're starting the last set before we start the 14 rep count. Okay. Breathe. Giving you a few more seconds to breathe. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. Are you okay? To the left. Good stuff. So now we're still on 12. This is the last set. Push-ups. Let's go. 1, 2. Go on your pace. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 more. 1, 2. Good job. Hold it there. And your burpees for 12 reps. The last one, the 12th rep, we start the 14 reps. You still have some time, we'll hack it. Okay? 12 reps, burpees. Whew, let's do this. 1, 2, 10 to go. That's 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's a wrap. Sit-ups, 12 reps. Tumalize hiyo raundi. Reps. You finish off. Start the 14 reps on. Are you okay? Nothing like it. The workout is good. I know. I can feel it as well. I'm sweaty. My muscles are enjoying it. No complaints. No complaint whatsoever. Now let's do this 12 reps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Good job. Now, we're starting off on our last set for the day, which is the 14 rep set. We still targeted to do 3 sets. Okay? 14 reps each exercise. Then, boom. Yeah. So we're going back again to push-ups. 14 reps. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good job. Now, swing your burpees. Umerudi? Hauhemi, right? No, really shazoea. Sasa, endurance ina grow. Good job. Swing your burpees. 14 reps. Feel like you just started. How do you feel? Same, I know. Good job. You're doing awesome. Never give up on yourself. Okay? 14 burpees. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 4 to go. 1, 2, 3. That's 4. From there, keti chini. And your sit-ups. 14 reps. We don't have much time, so I think we'll try hook, hack 2 sets, and make sure you finish that one on your own, okay? So let's go 14 reps, same up on time. 14, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Halfway there. 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good job. First set is down. Okay. We have about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. Let's try hack the second set. Are you up for it? We can do this. Let's go. 14 push-ups. 1, 2, 3, 4. 10 to go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. From there, and get back this. Set your feet as much back. You have 1.5 minutes. Let's do this, okay? 14 reps, let's go. Push yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4. 10 to go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. So that's regular sit-ups. 14 counts, we are done. It's the last one. So make sure you hack the third set on your own. Right. Please, you can do it. I believe in you. You can do it. 14 reps and it's stretch. We good? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 4 to go. 1, 2, 3. Last one. And 4. Woo! Brilliant. That was super awesome. I hope you've enjoyed the session. We're wrapping off with a stretch. We agree. The last set is on you. Don't cheat. Okay. Don't cheat. Then let's do this. Let's stretch here. Good. The other side. Good. Here. Good. The other side. Twist your wrist. The other side. Good. Shrug your shoulders. Backward. Twist your neck round. The other side. Good job. From there, breathe in, breathe out. Let's go, breathe in. Out. Okay. Breathe in. Out. Last one, breathe in. Out. Good job. Thank you so much for staying tuned to NTV. God bless you. Have yourself a good day. Bye-bye.
Siwezi kubali niambie ndio watoto pia nafasi tudunge shindano.
Islam allows child spacing. It's only the word.
Sharia sisi katika Kiislamu ikubali.
But the myth and misconception in any society you will not miss.
Umehelo inoha sipati chakula mzuri kwa watoto.
Sijai tumia hiyo dawa na sitaki kutumia.
In Islam, a man is supposed to go. All she's supposed to do is give birth, and in that birth you can discuss.
Mtoto wa kwanza nimekalisha sana, nimefikisha miaka 5.
Wa mama yetu saa hizi si kama mbeleni, saa hizi ni wa mama wajanja kabisa.
Sheikh ya imam ni msikiti. Bibi yake ndio tulikuwa tukichukuanga na family planning.
Few things, petty politics in the village levels is there.
Join us on NTV as we bring more on the changing attitudes on birth control in Garissa County.
Huyo jamaa unaangalia hapo unamdespise atiana form. Hey, shida. Mungu halali, kuna day utapatana na yeye ameomoka mbaya. Gari ni ile nono na life inamwendea fiti na wewe umechapa mako. Do hivi, jisort na umori, mjenge life, usije ukaregret mazee.
To get Jisort na Morio by Vuma, dial *811 *930#. Skiza na Nation.
Wagwan each and every Saturday tukutane pale Nation FM kama kawaida 96.3 for nothing but good vibes and good reggae music.
Kama kawaida, you know how we do it. Tunakupatia mambo moto story moto concerning our reggae fraternity pale kwenye Jammed On Vibe. We're giving you all the link ups of our 254 reggae artists and also Jamaican artists.
And of course, kama maze, catch me live on the decks. Maze nikiwapikia reggae noma sana all the way from Kingston, Jamaica, mpaka 254 Nairobi City. Send in your request pale kwenye #JamdownKE. Yeah man, they call me DJ Mo, the roughest and the toughest.
And I, the Caribbean Queen, Miss Katiwa.
Call me the energy god, MC Jawochi. Don't you go nowhere.
Cause this
is NTV Jam Down.
You said you wanted to come home because you missed us, but now it's pretty obvious that it was just an excuse to see her. Did you get scared that she was getting married?
I won't let you talk to me like that!
But it's always the same with you, Dad!
Can't you see that I can't live without Luciana?
It's just that I can't believe this is happening again.
What upsets me is that nothing works out as I planned. Everything goes wrong unless I do it myself.
I warned you, didn't I?
What's wrong with you, Lillian?
I told you not to mess with me!
Along came love.
Usilipe kitu ndo upate loan. Stawi is a product by KCB, Cooperative, NCBA and DTB Banks and is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya.
Stawi ni moja tu. Miaka 20 safari ilianza ya kutuunganisha kama Wakenya. Twende tukiuke, twende tukiuke. Let's go beyond, let's go
Love garlic in your food but hate the hustle of making it? Introducing Fresh Fried Garlic, specially crafted with garlic oil for healthy living. The oil has a beautiful garlic aroma and adds an extra kick when used on your favorite meals. Fresh Fried Garlic combines wonderfully on salads, stir fries, marination for meat, or simply when sprinkled on your favorite dish. Try Fresh Fried Garlic today. Available in all leading outlets countrywide.
This is NTV.
Hello, East Africa, and welcome to Your World. Today, we look into the people we look up to. We're talking mentorship. My name is Joseph Warungu. Good morning. And coming up, who do you look up to in life, in business, in school, or at work? Or who should you look up to? Well, that's the focus of our discussion today. Australia's artistic director prefers to focus discussion on his art, but has been punctuated by political turmoil. Libyan parties working towards reuniting the East and the West. We find out how. Monkeys in Pradesh, India are making life a living hell for residents as they run amok in the state. This morning, we're asking, do you have a mentor? Why did you choose them? And what value do you get from the mentorship? Speak to us via our hashtag #NewNormal, as well as our WhatsApp line, which will be flashing down the bottom of your screen. But just before we get into the substance of our discussion this morning, let's have a look at the COVID-19 situation around the world. The global numbers as we speak, 48,420,101 people have so far been confirmed positive for COVID-19. Of these, 34,670,601 people have so far recovered, while sadly, globally, we've lost 1,230,757 people as a result of the disease. That's the global picture. Coming to our continent of Africa, South Africa has the highest numbers, 730,000 548 people in South Africa so far confirmed positive for COVID-19. Out of this, 660,185 have recovered, while in South Africa they've sadly lost 19,585 people so far. Coming to the East African region, Kenya first, and this is our situation. 58,587 people confirmed positive, and so far 38,381 have recovered. And sadly, here in Kenya, we've lost 1,051 people as a result of COVID-19. Moving on to our neighbors, moving on to Uganda first, and the situation there, 13,351 people confirmed positive for COVID-19. Out of these, 7,623 have so far recovered. In Uganda, sadly, they've lost 117 people. Across some of our other neighbors, Somalia, this is the situation there. 4,229 people confirmed positive. 3,247 have so far recovered, while 107 people in Somalia have passed on as a result of COVID-19. Finally, the picture in Rwanda, 5,174 people confirmed positive for COVID-19. And 4,930 have so far recovered. And in Rwanda, as we speak, 35 people have so far passed on as a result of COVID-19. So that's how it looks globally as COVID-19, with the second wave and another surge in many countries in Africa, continues to cause havoc. Now, before we get into other things, some of the stories we have for you this morning, starting off in Uganda. Police detain Ugandan presidential aspirant Bobi Wine just moments after the pop star turned politician registers his nomination to challenge Yoweri Museveni in next year's election. Wine, a 38-year-old opposition MP, whose real name is Robert Chagulanyi, was on Tuesday forcefully pulled from his car and thrown into a van in Kampala after submitting his candidacy papers to election officials. His National Unity Party said security forces broke into Honorable Chagulanyi's car to arrest him shortly after his nomination, his party wrote on Twitter. Supporters of Ivorian President Alassane Ado Ouattara celebrate his re-election in the streets of Adjamé, a district of the Ivorian economic capital Abidjan, as caravan circles the city to celebrate the victory. He embarked on an ambitious infrastructure program, and growth has averaged around 7 to 8% annually since 2012. But critics say he has turned a blind eye to entrenched corruption, and the boom has failed to trickle down to the poor. A former supporter who has gone over to the opposition said that Ouattara's third-term bid showed that the mask has fallen. We are happy to host the Libyan parties who are working towards reuniting our people from east to west as one country, says a resident of the desert oasis of Gadam, where rival military officers hold peace talks for the first time following a UN-brokered ceasefire agreement last month. Rival Libyan military officers began talks Monday on home soil for the first time following a ceasefire agreement last month, discussing implementation of the deal. A lot of progress was made today. Stephen Williams, the UN's acting envoy to the troubled North African nation, said at the end of the first day of talks, the courage and determination between those officers is what is needed from your political class, she added. The three-day meeting of the Joint Military Commission is taking place in Gadam, a desert oasis some 465 kilometers southwest of the capital, Tripoli. Kuldeep Chand used to spend his evenings reading on his terrace overlooking the pristine Indian Himalayas, but not anymore. Now he spends them anxiously looking over his shoulder for potential attackers. He lives in the capital of northern India's Himachal Pradesh state, which is at the forefront of tricky and protracted fight against a raging monkey menace.
What had happened was, 3 days back, I was sitting in this terrace, just in the sun. Suddenly a monkey comes from that place, come down and bite me. In the last 1 week, the monkeys, they come very frequently. They come very frequently over here and just bite, or the people are very scared. They don't know what to do.
In my opinion, sterilization is the only way. That is how we can control this population, because if we kill monkeys, like some people, they poison monkeys. You have read about it in recent years, but that can pose a threat to human as well, to other animals.
So welcome to our discussion this morning, which focuses on mentorship. And with me is a panel of people who are active, very active in that space, who share their thoughts and their words of advice to people looking for mentorship and other mentors as well. With me here in the studio is Pamela Munyi. She's a leadership coach and founder of Achieves Coaching and Mentoring Limited. And joining us via Zoom is Riga, musician and producer, who also mentors other artists. We also have Samuel Bakutana, executive coach and leadership consultant, all the way in Uganda. And in our fifth floor studio is Isaac Masharia, who is a retired athlete and also mentors and encourages those ones who are upcoming in the field. So remember, you can send in any questions to the panel on mentorship or indeed leadership, and we'll see how best to tackle that. We're also asking you whether, do you have a mentor? If so, why did you choose that particular person? And what value do you get out of that mentorship? Love to hear your thoughts on our hashtag New Normal. First of all, let's go straight into our guest. Pamela, good morning again. Welcome to our studio.
Good morning.
Yes, how's your new normal, or is it the old new normal?
So far, so good. I believe whatever happens in life, it's all about attitude. So I know it's a very interesting time for everybody all over the world, but I believe that there are things that we can leverage even in this season. And now that we're talking about mentoring, there's a lot to talk about.
Okay.
Yes.
Indeed. Riga, good morning and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Joseph. Good morning.
Good morning. And I always have to ask people, what's your new normal like?
Well, my new normal found me. I was working from home before the rest of the world joined me in working at home, but it's had its ups and downs. But we've had some stability now, so I'm thankful for that at least.
Okay, lovely. Thank you so much. And let's cross over to our fifth floor studio in the newsroom. Isaac Masharia, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well. Now, Isaac, how have things changed for you in this season of the pandemic?
For us in the sports fraternity, we've been hit hard. We're doing very little, but we are optimistic this thing will pass and then we can go back to our normal lives.
Okay, glad to hear that. Samuel Bakutana, good morning and welcome to our show.
Good morning and good to be here this wonderful morning.
Fantastic. What's your new normal like?
Exciting, exhilarating, amazing, making me curious, pushing me to the edge and giving me an opportunity to touch as many more lives as possible in fresh ways, with fresh perspectives, looking forward to a better future.
Now, Samuel, we'll get into the discussion about the qualities of mentorship. I wonder whether part of it is being really upbeat. This morning you sound like you've had 3 breakfasts.
Well, I did not have 3 breakfasts. I only had some 3 minutes of ensuring that I am stronger and better in the morning.
Okay, lovely. We'll get onto that in a moment. Now, let me start with you, Pamela, just before we get into the real issues on the table. How did you get into this space in the first place?
Okay. I think for me, mentoring is something that I was involved in, though not in a structured manner. I remember when I was in campus, we were picked up as leaders of other young people. And the prerequisite of that is that you needed to have an older person or somebody who has done student leadership in the past who is working alongside you. And so that was the very first time I actually got to get into a mentoring situation. And I was very afraid. I think I was about 19 years of age. And I am in this college and I've been picked up as a leader. I actually did not know what to do. And so what this did for me is that this person who was working alongside me actually gave me courage to move on. You know, he kept telling me, you can do this, you can stand in front of people and speak, you can lead a meeting. And the more I kept engaging and hearing those words, you know, affirmation, the more the affirmation came through, the stronger it got me to actually take up the leadership position and proceed. So that was the very first time I actually got into an organized mentoring situation.
And currently, what are you doing?
Oh, currently, it is my every single day. That's what I do. I love it. I find myself doing it everywhere and every time. But in a more structured manner, I run a coaching and mentoring firm. It's called Sheaves Coaching and Mentoring Limited. We have been at this now for 7 years, and we reach out to young people. Initially, we used to coach everybody who came through. Everybody would have an opportunity to talk to. But most recently, we are now focused on coaching and mentoring young people in the church leadership space, in government and politics, and in community development.
Okay. Thank you. Now, how about you, Riga? I know that you work with other people who either are new or just getting to learn the ropes in the industry. Tell me about how you got into that particular piece of work.
I like what Pamela has, because for me it's never really been a structured mentorship space that I found myself in. I'm a byproduct of mentorship in the sense that there are people who opened doors for me, who gave me guidance, and I stand on the shoulders of giants. So for me, seeing that I'm a beneficiary of people paving the way for me, it came naturally that I do the same for others. Now I'm in a space where not only am I a recording performing artist, but I'm also a producer. And when I'm in that production space guiding other younger artists in their music, I inadvertently end up mentoring them, not just about music, but even about issues to do with life. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Samuel, let me come to you as well. How did you get into this mentorship and leadership space?
I actually did not get into it. It got into me. I did not choose it. It chose me. Of course, I was mentored by a number of people in my life, right from the time when I was young. And as I was growing up, I found myself having to be in a place, in a position where people would come to me seeking for advice, seeking for guidance, asking for some bit of instruction, and so on and so forth. And I kept on walking with them in their life, holding their hands to be better and stronger. And with time, I came to know that what I was doing was called mentoring. So I decided to now learn it better, get the skills, and do it more formally and more intentionally. That's why I say I didn't get into it. It got into me. And when I realized it was in me, then I decided to also get into it more formally.
And so currently, what are you doing? How are you carrying it out?
Well, currently, I'm carrying it out, first of all, as a person in my personal life, outside the formal environment, with a number of people around my life that I'm helping to get better, to be better versions of themselves. But also, I'm doing it formally under an entity that I lead, Inspired Leaders International, where I am the Chief Executive Officer. We have formal mentorship programs. We have a TMP, Teams Mentorship Program, where we mentor young people. We have a community leadership mentorship program for youth leaders in the communities. We have a number of other programs that look at mentorship, of course, plus many other different programs that look at other things. But formally, we have those that handle mentoring. So I'm doing it at a personal level, in my own personal lives, with a number of people around me, but also formally in my professional life as part of the work I do at Inspired Leaders International.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, Riga, who held your hand in the industry?
Well, there have been a number of people who've held my hand. Just to name a few, the first person who signed me to label, Kanji Mbugua. He paved the way for me. I was so young. I was signed to his record label before I could even sign a contract. I was 17. So he showed me what it meant to do live performances, to organize shows, and to even think about the logistical, the financial, and the economic engine around being in the music and the entertainment business. So it was necessary for people like that to show me, who just had a dream and a skill, very unpolished, very raw, how to navigate those waters. So I'd say him, and there've been a number of other artists who've played that role, but I'd say chiefly it has been Kanji Mbugua. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Apelma, who have you looked up to as you've grown up in mentorship?
I think for the last 15 years, there's a lady who really has been present in my life. Her name is Barbara Porter. And the beauty about looking up to Barbara, or having Barbara walk alongside me, is that she really was able to mentor me in every aspect. Because, Joseph, what you realize is your life has facets, all right? So for her, it was not just about mentoring. She taught me how to be a mother, how to be a wife, how to be an employee, how to even be an employer. But really, she's a psychologist, counseling psychologist. So for her, she kept telling me, you know, there are things that mentoring does that counseling psychologists will not do. And that is something that you can do. So she encouraged me to even get into the training, which was a mentoring training, a 2-year program. And that is now the first time I got certified as a mentor. And I can really say Barbara to date really plays that role for me.
Okay, thank you. And as we wait to sort out our technical issues with Isaac Macharia, so we can also hear from him, let me come back to you, Samuel, in Uganda. Who held your hand?
A conglomerate of people. Not one person, not 2 people, not 3 people, but quite a number of them. I remember a certain teacher in high school called Obadiah, who really held my hand for about 5 years of my high school, helping me, speaking into my life, giving me pieces of advice, forgiving me for my terrible mistakes as a young adolescent, giving me some of his resources, including his bicycle, to ride it from school to go to my home to check on my parents once in a while over the weekend, who gave me books to read and gave me more time beyond the time that was allocated for him to be teaching, because he saw something in me that many other people were not looking at. So he encouraged me, he spoke into my life, and so on and so forth. And I really appreciate him for the work that he did in my life. But I also remember another gentleman called Amos, who now came in as a parent after I had finished high school for about 1.5 years. Spoke into my life, and especially for him, he pointed me to the inner world, to my spiritual world, and helped me to appreciate that there is an environment beyond the physical. There is an environment beyond the human power, that there is a time when you reach and you need power beyond human power. Now, that was him. But then later, when I was at the university, I met an amazing professor, Dr. Medet, who also took me on as a parent, and I always spoke with him man to man, heart to heart. He took me on some of his assignments, trusted me with his platform, pushed me forward to try out, and whenever we would be done with the assignments, he would put me on the side and say, you did this right, you could have done this better. And then, of course, there are those that have mentored me and held my hand, not face to face, but from a distance. A man like John C. Maxwell, oh my, he has held my hand. He has held my hand. I've read many of his books. I've watched his videos. I have I have been saturated by a lot of his views on leadership and mentorship and coaching.
Okay.
Not to forget Dr. Miles Monroe, whom I met one time. We shook hands. We exchanged our books. I gave him my book. He gave me his, and I have been following him until when he died. And he has affected a lot of how I think about my marriage, how I think about parenting my 2 children, how I think about my relationship with people, and especially how I think about social influence, going out there to make sure that I bring change to the community. So a number of them.
Thank you. So indeed, a multitude, as you say. Thank you so much, Samuel. Now, from a counseling psychologist to a professor to a parent to someone in the industry, which leads me, Pamela, to ask, so then what is mentorship?
Great. Mentorship is actually a lifelong relationship with somebody who walks alongside you and helps you discover that niche, that God-given gift, that God-given calling that everybody on the face of the earth has. So it's really a lifelong relationship. And, when I look at the way that we have the structured mentorship and the one that is not structured. So it's really a lifelong relationship. You had some of our guests are saying it's been 10 years, it's been 15 years. So it's actually someone walking alongside you in a relationship that helps you get to the next level.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And Samuel, let me ask, so where do you draw the line between coaching and mentoring?
I'm glad you're asking that question, because over the last about 1 decade, I've been facing that challenge in our human capital development industry, whereby somebody wakes up one morning and asks himself, what should I call myself? And then he thinks about a number of words. He says, mentor, trainer, consultant, counselor, coach. Oh, coach sounds nice. So he slaps the title of coach to his name, and he says, from today onwards, I'm Coach Samuel. And then you ask him, so you said you're a coach. What do you do exactly as a coach? And then he shocks you. He says, I sell some health supplements that can boost your immunity. And you say, wait a moment. You said you're a coach. So I'm glad you asked that question. In my view, very briefly, when it comes to mentorship, it's much more of, let me call it a formal or sometimes informal relationship in which the mentor empowers a mentee, both with skills and character. And this mentor is an experienced senior advisor who really passes on the experience, the benefit of his own experience as a senior person. But when it comes to coaching, and I have the benefit of being both. I'm a mentor and I'm also a coach. I'm a certified executive coach trained by Coach Masters Academy in Singapore, and I'm a member of the International Coach Federation. Now, when it comes to coaching, a coach doesn't necessarily need to be an expert in the coachee's profession, but a coach is an expert in learning and goal achievement. So what a coach does is to ask you empowering questions, reflect back the things that you are speaking about, helps you to think about angles to your issues that you had not thought about, and he helps you to heighten your own self-awareness, deepen your own learning, and therefore quicken your journey towards your goal achievement. So with mentorship, it is passing on the experience. With coaching, it is helping you to learn better in order to quicken your rate of progress.
Okay.
That's what I can say.
Thank you, Samuel. That's pretty clear. I'll come to Pamela in a moment because she was nodding furiously as you were explaining the agony of people who call themselves all manner of things. But first of all, now I'm glad to hear that we can finally connect with Isaac in our fifth floor studio. Again, Isaac, tell me why you got into the space of trying to encourage and support others on their journey, especially young sports people.
I would say that I was not privileged to have structured mentorship. All mine came from the influence I got from the environment I lived in. Becoming an athlete is because of where I was living. I was raised up in Nyahururu as a high altitude training center, and I believe even for other young boys and girls, if you associate yourself with good people in sports or in other industries, you can pick up from them and be a champion in your life. So I would say that's what drove me to start a charitable school. I have a school of 300 children. It's a secondary school, which is a charity program. And my main assignment is to work with those children, mentoring them, because most of them share my story. So to me, mentoring is a lifestyle, and it's something I do every other day. It's not very structured, but from my story to them, I feel that I give them what they deserve in terms of mentoring them.
Okay, thank you, Isaac. And as I wait to sort out my TV screen here so that I can see you clearly, let me turn to you, Riga. Tell me about the people who, the kind of people that you mentor in the industry.
So it's interesting that for my generation, Gen Y and even Gen Z, it's very unappealing to even term it as "come, let me mentor you." It's it's not appealing at all to refer to it in those terms. So even to borrow from what Sammy said, the lifestyle relational approach has been very effective, and these have been younger artists, people who are starting out, looking to make or perform or make a living from their music and from their art and their entertainment. Yeah, so it can be male, female. Most of them have been younger. Some have been slightly my peers, but started a bit later than I did because I had the benefit of starting earlier. Yeah, those are the kinds of people that I end up journeying this life process with. So yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. And Samuel, tell me about the kind of people that you work with on their journey of life.
Well, quite different kinds of people. To begin with, I work with young people who are hungry for personal growth in their own life. You know, when young people are switched on, when they are inspired through a mentorship relationship, there is no end to what they can do. There is no boundary to what they can achieve. So I have a number of young people that I mentor. But also, somehow connected, I also mentor emerging leaders. These are people who can't wait to become the best versions of themselves. You know, they know that they have the capability to influence. They have the capacity to do something more than they are doing. And they also have the belief that they cannot do it alone, on their own. They need a helping hand. So I work with those emerging leaders. I mentor them. I show them my own example. I share with them my experience. I keep empowering them and inspiring them. But I also mentor senior leaders, especially those who are more than happy to have a personal accountability partner who can work with them in a growth-oriented journey together. So when it comes to those ones, I often go beyond just mentorship. I introduce to them executive coaching so that we can deepen the impact of our relationship with them. But lastly, I also mentor those with potential to mentor others. That's something I've been looking out for quite a lot. There are a number of people who come to me and say, Mr. Bakutana, I would like you to mentor me. You know what I used to do a few years ago? I used to simply take on everybody who came to me seeking for mentorship. I later came to realize I was committing gradual suicide. Thank God I hadn't been put to the grave. So now I always, first of all, take them through a sieve of sorts. And one of the factors I look out for is looking for some bit of, indicators that this person, if I mentor them, they have the heart, they have the potential to also go and mentor others. Barnabas mentored Paul. Paul mentored Timothy. And he told Timothy to mentor faithful people. He also said that he should remind those faithful people to teach others also. 5 generations of mentors. So those are the kinds of people I mentor.
Okay, thank you, Samuel. Now, Isaac, let me also ask you a question I asked the other guests earlier, which is who held your hand as a young athlete?
I would say it was not easy to get to the very elite when we were young. It was not easy like today. And then we didn't have like the social media or the internet where you can access information. We really struggled, but along the way we would get materials to read about very prominent learners like Paul Telgat and there were articles like in the newspapers. You could read about them. Then you could get inspired from their stories, not really them holding your hand. It was not very easy. And I think even today, to so many young boys and girls, it's not easy to reach out to people who you look up to. Maybe because they are busy or they are not within reach, or you come from a very marginalized area and you cannot reach them. It becomes really difficult for the very young ones. And I think something people should explore on how to reach out to the marginalized or to the underprivileged, them who cannot access the services of their mentors, them that they look up to. So for us, we struggled, but along the way, we got help, but mostly was reading articles and getting inspired by watching TVs when they win medals, and then you feel you want to be one of them. So ours was through media, I would say.
Okay, it's almost self mentorship. Pamela, let me turn to you. When Samuel was speaking about the difference between mentorship and coaching, I saw you nodding in agreement. We have all manner of people calling themselves all manner of, oh, I'm a mentor, I'm a coach, I'm an executive, this and the other. So again, what are your thoughts on these different roles?
There's something that has come out very strongly, even as we speak, about the fact that mentoring is really something that happens throughout life. And I really want to emphasize on that anyone can mentor you, even though it's not a structured mentoring relationship. However, on to your question now, I think it's very important to just respect this space of mentorship and coaching. And all I'm saying is that we can agree that every single person is a potential mentor, including you. I can't wait to ask you who you're mentoring. So everybody is a prospective mentor. Everybody is a prospective coach. But when it comes to doing it professionally, it's good to expose yourself to some training, you know, and some certification, because that is crucial. Because if we then have everybody come through to that professional space, then it just really loses, you know, the honor and dignity that it should have. So we have those who are professional mentors and professional coaches because they have been exposed to some training, they've been exposed to an experiential journey, 2 years, 3 years, or whatever that is. And that is why I think we also have certification, all right? And we have bodies, you know, that come around for mentors and coaches just to secure that space. However, yeah, everybody can mentor, everybody can coach, but if you're not certified, just kindly indicate as much. Yeah.
Okay, so Riga, if I let me turn to you now. If I come to you, my younger self of I don't know, 18, 19, believing that I am going to be the biggest thing that the world of music has ever seen, and I've got the voice of a frog. And where do you start? How do we? What's the process?
I mean, there's a place for honesty, where if you are not gifted in one area, I have learned it better. Better open rebuke than hidden love, so to speak. So it's better for me to be honest with you and point you in the direction where you are gifted. If you do have the voice of a frog, I'm sure there are other things that you are gifted at that I can point you in that direction. So that's how I'd approach situations like that, because there's all manner of people who are like in my social media reaching out for, oh, I want mentorship, oh, I think I can be the next big thing, oh, can you help me get there? And I am, part of mentorship is listening. So I am listening out and watching out for, probably you might be the next big thing. So I try and give as many people an ear as I possibly can. And where I'm able to help out and give guidance and encourage and point people in the direction they should go, I do. But where I'm not the person to mentor them, I am very quick to send them on their way lovingly.
So there's a honest feedback is really key in this relationship.
Yeah. Because I wouldn't want to lie to anybody or gas them up or give them false hope that yes, in fact you can do this thing, when clearly I do not believe that to be true. So yeah, it's necessary to be honest. Sometimes that honesty is brutal depending on the circumstance, but yeah, it's necessary.
Okay. So Samuel, let me come to you as well. Again, on the same, how do you go about, let's talk about feedback for a moment as well. When you see someone who is going in a particular direction, they're convinced that they're going to be, I don't know, maybe Uganda's next president after Yoweri Museveni, and you see zero skills of leadership, how do you go, without hurting them or breaking them completely, how do you go about sharing the fact that they're headed in the wrong direction?
To begin with, my brother, to begin with, I always give them a benefit of doubt. I always tell myself, whenever I see something wrong in somebody I'm mentoring, I always tell myself that I could be the one who is wrong. You see, one time I was amazed when I read something from, what's the name? Charles Spurgeon. Charles Spurgeon said, never despise anybody, because once the divine light shines on them, you will be tempted to bow down and worship them. We rarely understand people and know their potential and what they are capable of doing. So that's my first disclaimer, that whenever I see them going to a direction I feel is wrong, I first of all ask myself, could I actually be wrong? So put that aside. When I am now sure that they are going in the wrong direction, the manner of feedback is putting them down. I always use I call it the top, tip-top approach in my world. Top, tip-top. The tops are those good things that are going well. The tip is that area of improvement, that area that the arteries heal, the potential to kill them, what you are calling a mistake or a wrong direction. So I often sit them down, give them some two talks, say, you know, you're doing this amazingly, but also secondly, you are also doing this very well. Then I bring in that tip that you're asking about, in a way that I say, in addition, I believe you would be doing better if you also gave your attention to this and this and this. So, for example, looking at the example you've given, I would say something like, in addition, I realize that you haven't yet gotten enough knowledge that you need to be a government leader at the level of the president. And I believe that if you could take a few more years, maybe 2, maybe 3 strategic years where you are under the mentorship of somebody who is in government leadership, I believe you could do much better than you are going to do if you get into it right now. You see, so I bring in feedback in a sense that it doesn't criticize them and discourage them. I don't want to be a VDP, a very discouraging person. Yet, I don't want to be giving false hope as, you know, these people, the motivational speakers who call people at Kasarani Stadium and they say, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I started my poultry project with 1 feather. I started my restaurant with 1 grain of rice. I don't want to be that kind of a person. So I give them feedback in a way that they can be able to take it on with a good heart, but when I am firm in holding them accountable to the direction they are taking.
Okay, thank you, Samuel. What about you, Pamela? What's your approach to new clients or potential clients, people who've come to you for help and support?
Okay, allow me to answer that question in 2 ways. If someone walks up to me and they say that they need me to mentor them, it just actually goes back to what Reggie said. You need to be very, very honest with yourself and with the person that is in front of you. So it's exactly the same. If somebody comes up to me and they want me to mentor them, I find out whether I have time to do it, if it's a structured one. And if so, then I take them in. If I'm not in a position to do so, then I find them a match. Somebody who has what they need and who can walk alongside them. There's something I'd like to say at this point. I think one of the things that we hope even to get from this conversation is, just like Isaac said, not everybody will afford to come through for a structured mentoring process or a session. How do we get everyone, mothers, fathers, teachers, how do we just stir up everybody to be conscious and to be deliberate as a mentor, so that our young people will always have somebody they can look up to and who can walk alongside them? And it doesn't even have to cost money, because the truth is the world is very different today. When we were younger, it was very different. You know, the world, we did not have so many challenges and so many evils all over the place, but now more than ever, We are having issues like mental health. We are having issues of suicide and things like that. And why is that happening? Because the young people are lonely. They don't have anyone to talk to. And I like what Reggie also said. Some young people will not even walk up to you and say, can you mentor me? So sometimes it takes, you know, the sensitivity of the grown-up or the peer who is alongside somebody to see, hey, this person actually needs help. How can I start up a conversation? And how can I even mentor them without them necessarily even knowing that that is what is going on? Because the truth be told, we are social beings. And God created us as social beings. Actually, God was the greatest mentor ever. You remember what happened when he made Adam and Eve. He actually mentored them and showed them how to do things. And, you know, it's across, you know, the Bible about mentoring situations and relationships. So how do we get everybody sensitive to the fact that young people or even older people, everybody needs mentoring? And how do we have that happening even though it's not in a structured way?
Okay. Yeah. For you, Riga, what are the challenges you've seen as you've tried to encourage people, perhaps who are new in the industry? What are the kind of challenges that you have to deal with?
I think the first one that comes to mind is with my generation and the generation after me, there's a lack of appreciation for the work that time does. Because there's almost, people want to get there instantly. They don't understand that life is a journey, and there's a lot of investing that you need to do in terms of your craft and in terms of your abilities and your networks, your resources, in everything. Time is a factor that needs to be very considered and respected. So, for example, somebody will approach me now and want to be the biggest artist in East Africa now, when it doesn't really work like that. You have to earn your stripes in whatever field or whatever industry, or even in life. I recently became a dad. I'm a father of and there are still aspects of fatherhood where, to be completely honest, I am green and I need people to show me how to do this thing. I can't be the world's best dad now. Maybe when my son is older, he'll be like, you are a great dad. Right now, I feel like I am winging it and I need people to help me as I'm going through the process. So I find that to be a challenge when I'm talking to younger people who want everything now, and it doesn't work like that.
Thank you, and congratulations again, Riga. What about you, Isaac? What about you? I'll come back to you, Isaac, in a moment. Now, Samuel, mentorship in the olden days used to be elders passing on what they know onto the younger ones. It used to be in rites of passage. It used to be in parents. How have you seen it evolve to what we have today as kind of the formal structures of mentorship?
Good question right there. You know, you're talking about the evolving of mentorship.
Sorry, Samuel, give me one moment while we try to... We've lost your vision. We will come back to you in a moment. But maybe, Isaac, if you can hear me, what challenges... Isaac, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, I thought we'd lost you as well. Then I'll be speaking to myself, and that's not good mentorship. So what have been the challenges that you have faced in the work that you do, working with young people?
Yeah, I think my main challenge has been emotional, seeing the need that is there to mentor young ones. My school is big, is of 300 plus, and the demand for me to sit with the children and talk to them every other day is very overwhelming. And I imagine how that reflects what is happening even in other sectors. So my challenge is emotional in that I can only reach to very, very few. And I believe, as Pamela has said, we can all be mentors. We can pick up a child from the community and mentor them. Unconsciously, we also mentor people who look up to us. So our own lives, we should live very responsibly, us who are in place of authority, or us who people look up to. So And cautiously we are mentoring, but the main challenge is the numbers are huge and very few people are offering to be mentors to our young boys and girls.
Oh, okay, thank you. So Samuel, back to you briefly, the evolution of mentorship.
So are you able to hear me now?
We can both see you and hear you, yes.
Awesome. So when we talk about the evolution of mentorship, that takes us to the origin of the word mentor itself. And the little I have come to learn and understand is that the word mentor has origins in the Greek mythology between a gentleman who was called Mr. Mentor, the way they can say Maroma, the way they can say Mr. Bakutana, the way they can say Madame Muni. So that person was called Mentor as a name, not a word that meant anything, but as a name. So he was called Mentor, and he had a young person called Telemachus that he was working with. So from that Greek mythology, we got the word mentor, which was just a name. So the way I can say from today onwards, make sure that you Bakutanarize yourself from my name Bakutana. So they start to say, I need to Bakutana you. You are now my Bakutani. I am your Bakutana. Just from my name Bakutana. That's where that word came from. So it has gone through a lot of amazing evolution in later times after Mentor and Telemachus. Socrates mentored Plato. Plato mentored Aristotle. Aristotle mentored Alexander the Great, who almost conquered the whole world. So over the years, what has changed? A lot has changed. We used to think that only the old man has to be the one to be mentoring the young man. But I think there has been a shift now, whereby also the young people can now also mentor the old, and it's quite amazing. You see, because especially when it comes to even the professional workplace environments, where I have been helping a number of companies to design in-house mentorship schemes, you find that a young man has more experience in a certain field than the old man who is coming into the entity. So that's one evolution kind of thing that has happened, that also the young can actually mentor the old. But the other change I have been realizing that has been happening is that the mentor doesn't necessarily have the power in the relationship, because that has always been assumed that if you're my mentor, oh man, you have power in this relationship. Whatever you say, I simply salute. When you say jump, I don't say why. I say how high should I jump, sir? And when you say clean my shoes, I say please give me also your coat. But now, a lot has changed. The mentor doesn't necessarily have that power. They are partners in growth. They are partners in development, both the mentor and the mentee. And the last thing that comes to my mind as far as the evolution of mentoring is concerned is that the learning is now mutual. It was assumed that it has to be, in education terminology, there is something we call tabula rasa, where they assume that the teacher comes with all the knowledge all over the world, and then the one who is being taught comes with like an empty pot, an empty glass, an empty jar, an empty jerrycan. So the work of the teacher is to get this richness of his experience and pour into this empty person. That's not what mentoring is today. Okay. It is a two-way kind of learning process. The mentor also learns a great deal from the mentee, while the mentee is learning from the mentor. So there are many things that have been changing, and it's quite interesting. And every mentor needs to keep tuned into what is happening around the world and how they can be able to position themselves to do mentoring in a new way with the fresh perspectives, yet still having that ancient power that transforms the mentee into somebody better.
Samuel, thank you very much indeed. Pamela, maybe a quick thought just before we go on a break in a minute or so. Your thoughts on how the space is changing?
I think it's very interesting that in the past, it was the mentoring relationship was between someone older and a younger person. And you're supposed to just sit there or walk around and listen to every single word they said. However, today we are having that as well, but we also have peer mentoring, and we also even have cross-mentoring, where you have a younger person who knows more than you do. The most recent example I can think of is something I was working on in the office yesterday, and I couldn't really crack it. And I have a young man there, he's 25 years of age, and he knew more than I did. And you know, I had to sit there and allow him to tell me, Pamela, this is the way we do it. This is how you go about it. And he took it up, and I had to sit and learn from him. Okay. So it's actually dynamic, and we need to be sensitive to that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll take a short break right now. But before we do that, some feedback from you on our hashtag New Normal. And this is what you've been saying to us. We asked you who's your mentor and how did you choose them and what value do you get from that relationship? Yeah, so that was our question. So first comment is from Rosemina, my dad. Full stop. Okay, great. Stanley Echerangan, you say my father. Okay. Patterson, my mom always remains my mentor. Okay. This other one is from Dr. Amos Austin. I don't have a mentor. Luckily, I made it in life. I made that person whom I wanted to be. I inspired myself. So you are your own mentor. Thank you. Ivanovich Alex, mentors in your international schools. Sisi watu wa polling station, tutatoa wapi? Tumekusikia. Boningoge, everyone is fighting his, her demons. I believe in my own path. Okay, so you sort out issues your own way. Thank you, Boni. Ratemo, you say most mentors had no mentor. Indeed, that's true. And another comment here from Dixon, Man City, you call yourself, I don't have a mentor, I'm just a self-thinker. Okay, you're a little Aristotle. Kamangu, you say, my mentor is Chris Kirubi, though qua Twitter. He inspires me very much by his tweets. Thank you very much. And another comment, Kings, Oprah and P. Diddy, hardworking, focused, and happy. Asante, thank you. And other comment from Bidan Thendu, you say, at Gilbert Kibe will always remain my mentor, Gilbert Kibe. Okay, thank you so much, Bidan, for that. There's more comments from you. Daniel Osiemo Ondier, my mentor is President Barack Obama. He's a mentor to many, indeed, has touched many lives. Now, we'll be back with more and we'll get into the practical details of how you go about finding a mentor when we come back after the break. Keep watching Your World.
Change can be disruptive, but Business Daily has got you covered from Monday to Friday. Get evolving trends, ingenious business ideas, and the latest tech content in the new market dynamic, and exciting lifestyle content in the new normal environment. Business Daily, more possibilities.
This
week on The Trend.
Go, shawty. Girl, it's your bad day. Girl, you good. Girl, you nice.
El Shaddai, uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misipai.
Ukaanza kunibamba, nikasikia kama nafungwa na kamba, moyo unadunda mapenzi yanihanda like whoa.
All this and many more only on The Trend right here on NTV.
The Trend, in association with Oppo A93.
The river follows our flow. We feel the sunshine. Oh, we take the fun where we go. We feel the sunshine. Oh.
Epuka giza sasa na mshumaa wa Sumo. Mshumaa wa Sumo umetengenezwa kwa bidhaa bora zaidi na unakufaa wakati wote. Kila mara unapowaza kuhusu mwangaza katika nyumba yako, waza mshumaa wa Sumo. Unachomeka polepole bila kumwagika na hauishi haraka, hauna moshi wala harufu. Jipatie mshumaa wa Sumo katika duka lililo karibu nawe kwa bei nafuu. Kwa maelezo zaidi, tembelea afisi zetu katika barabara ya Ndume Road, mkabala na Lungalunga Road, nyuma ya Carton Manufacturer, karibu na stage ya matatu ya Sinai. Unaweza pia wasiliana nasi kupitia 0722575619 au 0736028181. Ni mshumaa wa Sumo Kando kutoka Rock Industries Limited.
program ikaleta hizi radio na solar zitusaidie kuniwezesha kuendelea kusoma hata kama ni usiku. But ka savings to fly singeweza kufika hapa hata penye nipo.
Oh my, oh my, oh my days. Life is wonderful. Life is wonderful. Life is wonderful. Life is wonderful. Never understood. Never understood. Life can be this good.
Welcome back to Your World. This morning we're talking matters mentorship. Who do you look up to and where do you get your cues from in life? Well, we've got a panel of experts, people who work in this space and know quite a few things about mentorship. We have in the studio Pamela Munyi, who is a leadership coach and founder at Sheaves Coaching and Mentoring Limited. We also have Riga, who's a musician, songwriter, producer, composer, you name it. He also works with young people wanting to make a break in the industry. Samuel Bakutana, executive coach and leadership consultant, joins us from Uganda to share his experiences on leadership as well. And in our fifth floor studio, Isaac Masharia, who is a retired athlete, a mentor, and who's now started a school to cater for people who do not have or have not had that opportunity of people who can hold their hand. So that's my panel. But just before we get into further discussion, some of the stories here that are making our headlines here. Now, since Li Kunshin was plucked from rural China to join Madame Mao's elite ballet school through his exile in the US and the pandemic, his life has been a reluctant pas de deux with the politics. His ascent from humble beginnings has been punctuated by political turmoil, from the horrors of Mao Zedong's great leap forward to life in exile to the anti-Chinese backlash of today's coronavirus pandemic.
I took some invaluable lessons and experiences from dance into finance, and now I'm bringing that back from the financial experiences back to the ballet world. Where I felt was most important in my dancing career, what made me who I was as a dancer and artist, was that discipline, was that passion, and the work ethic. My vision was to make Queensland Ballet a world-class ballet company where we're daring in exploring new ideas, sort of not to be afraid to go out on the limb, and to, but also at the same time respecting the traditional, beautiful classical ballets. So I think over the years, from virtually a 24-member, 24-dancer ensemble, today we are 60. And the program was so, carefully planned. So that was an enormous disappointment. We virtually decided to cancel our 60th anniversary gala program a week before we were to open. So the whole company was so ready. I would like to think, look at things as challenges, difficulties, or obstacles are opportunities in disguise. I think that certainly has proved the case in my life, particularly when times when I didn't see a way out.
Okay, now London's State Modern Art Gallery is forced to delay the opening for a second time of the first major UK exhibition of South African activist Zanele Muholi. Originally meant to open in April, the rescheduled opening date of November the 5th has been delayed once more as COVID-19 cases continue to rise across the UK, leading to a second national lockdown in England, which will come into force on the same date. Co-curator Sarah Allen calls it a sleeping beauty of an exhibition and is confident that the public will respond positively when the new lockdown is lifted. Allen also comments on the visual impact of Muholi's photography and the sense of compassion that their work generates in the viewer.
Needs to be seen, and it will be seen. You know, we very much hope to reopen in December along with government guidance. So, you know, a colleague had this really lovely expression to me yesterday, like, this is a sleeping beauty of an exhibition, and it's just going to wait for that moment to wake up and to kind of reinvigorate the publics, and I have no doubt that people will be ready and people will hopefully want to come and see and be inspired by this work. I think, you know, there's never been a more important moment to see work like Muholi's. You know, in the wake of Black Lives Matter, you know, the moment is now, and certainly the curatorial responsibility has been upped in relation to that. Is so keen to enforce the point that this show is for everyone. This show isn't for just the black community or the queer community. This show is for anyone who wants to come and learn a little bit about, you know, what it means to be queer and black in South Africa. And one of the real hopes for the show is that maybe you can come and learn a little bit more, and that you can leave kind of with a renewed sense of compassion for your fellow human beings. Definitely that sense of gaze is so important in these photographs here, Faces and Phases, but also in the adjoining room, Somnyama Gonyama. So it goes back to what we were talking about there, about power dynamics and about the camera and the history of photography. Who holds the power? In these images, the participants stare the camera down and they engage the viewer in this amazing dialogue.
The Inca citadel of Machu Picchu, the crown jewel of Peru's tourist sites, reopens to visitors after nearly 8 months lockdown due to the coronavirus pandemic. The Inca citadel, the crown jewel of the sites, opened Sunday with an ancient ritual after nearly 8 months of being locked up due to the virus. For safety reasons, however, only 675 tourists will be able to access the site per day, just 30% of the number of visitors pre-pandemic. Under a fine drizzle and multicolored lights, an Inca ritual was held to thank the gods for the citadel's reopening. On his motorbike, Mohammed Derbas darts across a field in northeast Syria, slender greyhounds and Saluki dogs galloping behind. He hopes to export them for racing in the Gulf despite a war and a pandemic. Mohammed says before the war, people from the Gulf flocked to the region on a daily basis. They used to hunt in Derbassia, Kamishi and Damascus, as well as observers and photographs the Saluki dogs. It was their hobby. Saluki dogs' value starts from 1 million Syrian pounds, that's around $400 US, at the black market exchange rate, and can reach 4 million, that's around $1,700 US in Syrian pounds, and this depends on the customer. A Dutch metro train, which was riding without any passengers, has been saved from disaster after it smashed through a safety barrier but was prevented from plummeting into water by a sculpture of a whale tail. The driver made it out safely and is being questioned as the cause of the incident has not yet been identified.
This tail not so strong and not so low, then the driver of the metro train would have jumped 10 meters down. And then I don't think he would survive. And I'm glad that it was so strong, because if he had another track and he bumped onto the other tail, I think it became a different accident. It was not made by saving the metro, because it is more for this, the neighborhood, and the people want to have something for themselves. So we made this two tails of the whale, twice as big as they are, for them as a monument.
Okay, so welcome back to our discussion on mentorship with my team here, Pamela Munyi Riga, a musician and a mentor, Samuel Bakutana, executive coach and leadership consultant, as well as Isaac Macharia, who is a former athlete and mentor. Let me turn to you, Riga, first. Now, looking at some of the views from, or the comments from our viewers, quite a lot of them said that their mentor is their dad, their father. So I'm thinking you have a tough exam there with your junior.
Yes, I do. Especially being somebody who was raised in a single-parent home. I was raised by my mom. So there was a lot I had to grapple with there about not really having a father figure. But along the way, there were people who held my hand, not just in this music thing, but in life, on how to be a husband, on how to be a father, and who continue to hold my hand so that my son has a better story than I do.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, Samuel, let me come to you. What are the skills of a mentor? I mean, Riga told us about listening is one skill that one needs to have as a good mentor. What are the other things that one needs to develop to be a good mentor?
Thank you very much. Of course, he was very right. When it comes to listening, it is all important. It's an all important skill. And we are not just talking about hearing. We are talking about listening. And not just passive listening, but active listening. But also the other important skill that a mentor needs is the capacity to build rapport and also trust with the mentor, with the skill to give and receive feedback, being able to be confidential. If a mentor has, let me put my tongue in my cheek and call it a very active mouth, that he has to go all over the place giving testimony about the mentees' challenges that they are going through in the form of a prayer request, that becomes a huge challenge in the relationship. So he needs to be having an ability to observe confidentiality and be able to even be vulnerable, because this is about share a relationship in which you share experiences. So if you're going to keep it cosmetic and you just share, flair and talk things that do not really get to the crux of the matter, you won't be helpful to the mentee. You need to have effective communication skills, have skills in asking empowering questions, interpersonal skills. Remember, this is a relationship. So if we are talking about a relationship, then you better have good relational interpersonal skills. And even the availability, the case of availability. I remember a few years ago, I left a mentorship relationship because my mentor was extremely busy, too busy. He was suffering from TB. He had too busy, the disease called too busy. Every time we would be going to meet, he would be not available. Then another time we have to meet, he's not available. And then when he's available, it is in the late evenings when he's already tired. And so when I'm sharing my own things in the conversation, he is dozing and sleeping. I said, no, this is not what I'm going to continue doing. So availability and a passion to be a good example, to be a role model. And just like Pamela rightly put it, if you are going to do it professionally, then you also need to go for mentoring training so that you are given these other capabilities and skills that you need to be able to be an effective mentor. Of course, by and large, you need an understanding of what mentorship is not. What mentorship is not. You need to have that clarity to know that it is not about taking on the problems of your mentee. It's not about taking on the work of the mentee. It's not about therapy, otherwise you would be called a counselor. It's not about being this bossy supervisor, but it is giving caring support in a loving relationship that also brings in a strong and firm hand of accountability.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Samuel. Now, Pamela, pretty much the first mentors we meet in life are our parents. But is there sometimes a danger of entirely relying on your parents as a mentor?
I think it depends on a lot of things. Ideally, parents are mentors. Unfortunately, some are not aware about that. Fortunately, some are. But ideally, that's the way God intended. Have you ever asked yourself why we are born in families? I mean, you can just wake up in Nairobi Hospital and walk around, you know. I believe the reason why God put us in families is so that our first mentoring relationship can actually begin from there. So the truth is, some of us have had good experiences at home and some of us have not. But the beauty is that even though you have not had a good relationship or a good environment to be mentored at home, there is the extended family, and that's the way it used to be in the past. If that doesn't happen, there are people you will find along the way. You will go to school, you will find teachers, you will go to church or wherever you worship, and you will find people there who may not necessarily be biological parents, but are willing to assume that role of really being parental and walking alongside you. But ideally, that's where it should begin, really. And it's good to hear that Reggie is really working on being a good father. Yeah.
Okay, now, Isaac, to you as well. When you mentor these young people, what is the value? What does it give you, and what do they get from you?
I think the benefit is mutual. They gain and as well I gain, because from the day I started mentoring them, I have gained a lot of, it's a learning experience. I thought I am very patient, but now I know I'm not, because there are some who you have to work with them and you get disappointed, but then you have to keep on. So you learn as you mentor them.
Sorry, Isaac, how did you know that you are not patient as you thought you were? How did you discover that? Did the mentees tell you, hey, Chief, you know, you're not listening to us?
Yes, of course, and then you try and invest your time and resources in their lives, and at some point you feel you are not getting, they are not becoming what you want them to be, but then you realize they are still young, and then you have to work literally with them. So I thought I'm very patient, but then sometimes I felt giving up or worn out, but I've learned and I'm moving on okay. So another thing is, these guys, especially them who come from very underprivileged families, they don't have the confidence to ask for help. So if you don't employ a lot of hours with them, you'll never know that they are aiding here and there. So it's another big challenge that I've experienced in my mentoring process. But I've also learned a lot, and I have learned that our people, our young ones, have huge potential. If we can help them realize their potentials, realize their dreams, realize their talents, and then we help them to move along in their career path.
Okay, Riga, so Isaac there has found sometimes he can be impatient. What about you when you're dealing with this, with the young people? Do you sometimes lose it?
Well, I am told I have a very calm, gentle spirit, so I will go with that. That is my public answer. But yes, there are times that things have not worked out the way that I hoped or envisioned. But I believe it's what Sammy said, that it's not a situation where I speak and they do what I say jump, they say how high. But even as I give of my experience and of my wisdom, I'm also learning from their perspective and from their insight at the same time. So as we're going through this exchange where I'm passing on from my experience and they're seeing things through fresh eyes, we're both learning and we're both growing and both developing. So yeah, it's challenging, but it's necessary. It's part of the process.
Is there something you've learned about yourself in the process of mentoring?
A very interesting question. I wish we had some 4 hours to discuss that one question.
We have 2 minutes.
Because indeed, as you go through this mentorship relationship, you learn a lot. I laughed when Isaac said the benefit is mutual. I thought I was patient, but sometimes I felt worn out by the relationship. Oh yes, I have also had to experience that. I will just give one example. I was mentoring a young man some time ago. But then a time came after we had moved a long distance and he was now more focused. He had gotten some clarity around his vision for the future. I had enabled him through this mentorship relationship to move from formal employment into starting his own organization. And he was moving really at an amazing speed. And then all of a sudden, his ego took over. He started to come to lecture me a lot during the coaching conversations and so on and so forth. So I learned that once you are dealing with a certain category of people, especially when you are talking about age, you really need a lot of patience. So I was so patient with that young man until a point came when I realized I was getting a lot of emotional garbage every now and again in my own life. So I put him on the side and I said, you know what, my friend, I think we have had some good time together over the last 2 years. I believe this is the time for us to move on. And I let him to be. So I also learned that I am not the Savior. I am not Deputy Almighty. I am not Assistant Jesus. I'm not Holy Spirit Junior. There is only one Savior and I'm not the one. A time must come when I let people go. I have also learned a lot about myself. Also on the side of patience, by the way, just like Isaac said. I mean, at some point you're pushed to the wall and you feel like you want to say something, but then you realize you are in this as a role model. But I also learned at some point that many times the reason why I was feeling the way I was feeling with some of my mentees is because I had not learned the principle of originality. Instead, I wanted to duplicate myself into those people. Instead of helping them to become a better version of themselves, I was trying to duplicate myself so that they are created in my own image, not in the image of the Almighty. So I've been learning a number of lessons along the way to know that this doesn't have to always work the way you want it. You have to be patient and so on and so forth. It's an amazing journey. It's mutual. And the moment you don't realize it's mutual, you're going to be setting yourself up for a lot of disappointments.
Thank you, Samuel. And for you, Pamela, your tough moments as a mentor?
I think one of the challenges about mentoring is that the mentee or the protégé or the mentee will only pick up what they want, period. So you may have this grand plan of what you want to do or how you want to turn someone out, just like one of the people said, but the young person or whoever it is will only take up what they really want. And have you ever thought about Jesus? Jesus was one of the greatest mentors we had. And he mentored Judas Iscariot. Have you ever thought about that? He actually knew that this gentleman was going to turn out to be whatever he turned out to be, and he was going to do whatever he wanted to do. So what I've realized in my challenges in the mentoring field, you need a large dose of love and compassion. Let me just say this. One of the things that makes mentoring very difficult is because we are not ready to really love and be compassionate with the people that we handle. Secondly, you need to be extremely authentic. You're not perfect. You also have flaws. I mean, sometimes you can fly off the handle right in a mentoring engagement. So your mentee or your protégé needs to know that you are 100% human. And finally, you need to be spontaneous. You actually need to expect anything. I remember one time I had an engagement with a mentee, and we were meeting somewhere. And what happens when you're meeting somewhere? You go to the venue, maybe pay for the venue and wait. And lo and behold, she did not show up. She did not even apologize. She actually said she found something else to do and we could meet the next time. So at that point, what do? You actually really need to just understand what's going on and allow it to roll. So you really need to just let everybody around you know that you're human and that, you're not perfect and it's possible to actually lose it every once in a while.
And briefly, I always wonder who's the counselor's counselor, because we take all our issues to the counselor and they get all these, everything that we've emptied out of ourselves in them. For a mentor, where do you take all this stuff that we share with you?
Can I be very honest with you? I am a product of mentoring. I have been mentored by very many people in my life, you know, all the way from home, all the way through school, and even today. One of the things that I do personally, I have people that I talk to, whether it's on an accountability level or just really on a mentoring stand. So I also have mentors. I have people that I look up to. I have people on whose shoulders I stand on, because without that, then it's really difficult. And one of my mentors, because I have a number, one of my mentors' role is to make sure that I'm mentally healthy. So every month we have an exercise that we get involved in, and if they find that I am maybe losing out on a few things, they actually recommend what I need to do. Because when you have that, then you always have people who confirm that you're actually in your right mind and in your right senses.
Okay,
yes.
Indeed, very important. Thank you so much, Pamela. We'll take another short break now, but just before we do that, there's more of your comments on our hashtag New Normal. We've asked you, do you have a mentor? Why did you choose them? And what value do you get from the mentorship relationship? This is what you said to us, Bethwell Kibe. Since Smooth Seas doesn't produce skillful sailors, find a mentor who has undergone heartbreak, disappointment, and failure. Okay, that's the value of authenticity, which Pamela was talking about. Franco Francis Kim, ule shoshu za system za ngoma za mat za bango yenyewe unibamba juu unifunza old age is gold. Asante Franco. And this one is from Mwange Kival Isaac. My mentor is my late grandfather. Love to hear what wisdom you got from that relationship. Peter Kadalu, you say, nobody who has no mentor, even if you don't know. That's the reason why people behave the way they do. Mentorship has a big role in growing people socially, mentally, spiritually, financially, academically, politically, morally, among other areas. Mentorship also helps in developing characters, positive or negative, depending on which kind, which I think is also what Pamela alluded to. Valerie Akinyi, my mentor is Mr. Joseph Otieno, who is a successful businessman in Awasi town. How I chose him? He's my uncle. He's living my dream. Okay, good luck on the path to your dream. Atieno Mondigade, well, but you need inspiration to be mentored because it's about thought. Jesus inspired people through the Holy Spirit. Thank you. Keep your comments coming in on our hashtag New Normal. We're on a break. We'll be right back with more on our final leg of this mentorship session, Your World.
We are Nation, Africa's independent media brand. We are committed to empowering all Africans, from the young to the old, from the curious to the educated, and from the heart of the cities to the rural areas. We are Nation. Join us, because if you want to get far, you do it together. Nation. Empower Africa.
Welcome to Pishi Home Chef.
Oh,
just perfect.
We're gonna be cooking breakfast.
Making chicken mishikaki, carbonara.
And I'm so happy to be on this show.
Most people think I can't do cooking. I forgot onions.
So I have to call her, literally to call her and ask her, Anipe, your recipe.
Pishi ndio hii. Check out at Pishi254.
Sumo Premium Candles. It is made of pure, fully refined paraffin wax. It doesn't have smoke. It has long burning hours. It is non-drip. It doesn't smell.
Always smile and work with Sumo Candle from Rock Industries Limited. For inquiries, visit our offices at Ndume Road off Lungalunga Road, behind Carton Manufacturers near Sinai Stage. You can also talk to us through 0722 575 619.
Pata kila kitu upendacho kwa M-Pesa kupitia star 334 hash.
Welcome back to Your World, and this morning we are dealing with mentorship. With my panel here, Pamela Munyi, who is a leadership coach and founder of Sheaves Coaching and Mentoring Limited. We're also joined by Riga, who is a musician, composer, producer, also mentors young upcoming artists. We also have Samuel Bakutana, executive coach and leadership consultant in Uganda, and Isaac Masharia, who's a retired athlete and mentor. But just before we go back onto the discussion, Christmas lights go on display on Oxford Street, London's best-known shopping hub, 3 weeks earlier than usual. They're normally switched on by a celebrity in front of a huge crowd, but social distancing restrictions forced organizers to share the event this year as the coronavirus pandemic rages in the United Kingdom. Every week, the display will feature the name of a hero who helped others during the pandemic, nominated by the public. A pilot project using sniffer dogs to provide instant and pain-free coronavirus testing at Helsinki Airport is showing promising early results and proving popular with travelers. Research in spring found the dogs can detect the virus with close to 100% accuracy, up to 5 days earlier than a normal PCR test.
We have done like 16,000, 17,000 PCR tests at the airport, and less than 1% are positive. If you compare these dogs, less than 1%, and these PCR tests, less than 1%, they are about the same. I don't think there's statistical difference if you want to make it that way. How we ended up using these dogs here? I saw an article in Finnish magazine, and I contacted Wise Nose and Helsinki University, and I called Anna and I said, is there something in this? Will it be a story?
Joo.
Pakistan's first metro line began operations in the eastern city of Lahore following years of delays in a country severely lacking public transport or modern infrastructure. The Orange Line Metro service is the largest metro project planned under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, a collection of infrastructure projects in Pakistan worth billions of dollars.
This is a totally pollution-free project, and there will be no negative impact on environment due to this project. However, inshallah, all sectors of life, nurses, teachers, farmers, laborers, professors, all will get benefit from this project.
Manufacturers of wind instruments who've been affected by preconceptions that wind instruments spread the COVID virus at a greater rate are working behind the scenes to provide all the health guarantees needed to breathe new life into a sector that has been hit hard by the crisis. Sylvian Kuden, director of the Atelier Musical, says we had to put special screens that we also have to disinfect between each lesson, knowing that our timetables have been shifted since we need 10 minutes of airing between each class. Fabien Bossart adds, we've seen that things are being taken seriously, and we know that there are health instructions which are given and which are a priority. Nine years late and far above its original budget, Berlin's new airport finally opened on Saturday with little fanfare as the aviation industry struggles with the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. The health crisis is already having an impact on employment at the hub. At the end of July, Berlin's airports announced the loss of 400 jobs out of a total of 2,100. EasyJet has said it will cut 418 jobs in the German capital. And Europe's leading airline, Lufthansa, Germany's flagship carrier, is to shed 30,000 jobs worldwide. The International Air Transport Association, IATA, does not expect global air traffic to reach pre-crisis levels until the year 2024. It's annoying, but we don't have much choice, say customers in Strasbourg bars and restaurants after French President Emmanuel Macron announced a new national lockdown. Macron held crisis meetings with top ministers as doctors increasingly warned that only another lockdown would effectively slow the surge. But the government may have again to call in the army to set up field hospitals to relieve overflowing hospitals. At the height of the outbreak last spring, France also had to transfer some patients to Germany, Switzerland, Luxembourg and Austria. A wildfire spreads near Yorba Linda and Chino Hills in California, prompting mandatory evacuation. Another fire burns near Los Angeles. State officials have pointed to climate change as a significant cause of the wildfire surge. Climate change amplifies droughts, which dry out regions, creating ideal conditions for wildfires to spread out of control and inflict unprecedented material and environmental damage. Take a look. Okay, welcome back to the final leg of our conversation this morning on mentorship. And my question to the panel first is, how do you go about finding a mentor? I think I'll start with you, Pamela. How does one go about finding a mentor? Say, a young person who feels, I think I need someone to, take me by the hand.
Okay. The process of choice of mentor is actually very personal. Like we said, we have two case scenarios here. We have the young person who actually wants a structured way of mentoring or needs to look up to somebody. And we have this other person who may not even think that they do need a mentor. So in the event someone actually is finding a mentor, the first and most important thing is for that person to ask themselves, what do I need in this person? How should this person be? Do I need to be mentored in the area of finances, in the area of professionalism, in the area of career? So what am I looking for, and what are the aspects and qualities that this person should have? So that's a conversation that every person should have with themselves. And once you have identified the kind of qualities and attributes that this person should hold, then you're on a search. You're out there and you get to look for somebody. There's something I'd like to say that is very important. Many mentors will always tell you that the protégé or the mentor should pop the question, make a request, you know, express yourself, be kind and respectful, but just walk up to someone and say, can you do this for me? Can you mentor me? In the event that that is not the case, like we said, the silent mentoring. There are people who actually look up to us, even though they don't tell us as much, but it begins with discovering what you want to be and finding someone who is already there, and then making the pursuit or watching and reading passively, depending on what's going on.
Okay, yeah. And some thoughts from you, Riga, in the world of music, when young people go around and say, mentor me, what's your advice to who they should look for when they're trying to find a mentor for themselves?
So I'd say, first of all, it begins with the question to yourself, where do you want to go? Like, what is it that you're trying to achieve? And sometimes you don't have the full picture. Maybe you have a glimpse or an idea, and that's why you lean towards a particular artist or a particular personality that has gone ahead of you. So you're like, okay, I want to be where that person is. And just as Pamela said, if you have the opportunity to access them, pop the question and see what happens. I mean, the worst that could happen is that they say no, and you keep it moving. But also, it's also important to maybe
sorry, Rigo.
Also look around you. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. We were losing your audio, but we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes I was just going to say, sometimes the people that you're looking to mentor you are not that far off. You just need to take a moment and look around and see in your space that you find yourself in, who seems to be doing a better job at this thing called life. So maybe you can start there.
Okay. Now, Samuel, if I come to you as a young person and I just say, mentor me, I have no idea where I'm going. I don't know. I don't have a vision of myself or for myself. How can you help me?
I first ask you exactly what you want in life and why you came to me specifically, feeling I could be the one to help you get to it. You know, and if you're exactly not sure of what it is that you want from life, what you want me to help you you simply felt you should come to somewhere, then I have two options. One option is to simply say, well, now that you don't know what it is that you want and you don't know why you came to me, maybe we are not a perfect fit. That's one option. But the other option that I often tend to gravitate towards is to say, well, now that you're not sure, just tally around, keep around. Let's see what happens in the next few weeks as we work together here and there. So what I do is to create an environment where they can be able to be involved in a number of things that I am doing for maybe a month or so, and I see if they are starting to get some bulb, getting on. So asking them about the things they have always wanted to do, asking them about what others have given them feedback about that they can be able to do it well, asking them about what they are passionate about, what they like to do, things they often excel at. And as you're trying to ask them these empowering questions that help them to reflect inwardly, they start to discover who they are. They start to discover what it is they could be actually wanting to do in their life. And then you can see whether you are a perfect fit to continue that relationship with them, or, like Pamela said at some point, refer them to somebody you realize could be a better fit for them.
Okay. Thank you for that. Now, Isaac, let me come to you as well. You know, not everybody can afford the fees that mentors charge, and I have decided not to ask my panel how much they charge. So, because there could be all sorts of embarrassments here. But so, Isaac, when someone who cannot afford what it takes to get help from a mentor, what's your advice? Can they still get help and support?
Yes, I think we have good people out there, and I know Pamela and other mentors. can listen to them and get...
They are also good people.
Yeah, they are good people out there. But I also think us as a people, we should be willing and ready to help. Like instead of them looking for us, we should look for them, realizing what talents they have and then package them to make them realize their dreams. And then we can involve Pamela and others, professionals, when these guys have started earning. We can hook them up, we can link them up. But initially, when they are young, we should help them to carve their path of career and develop.
Thank you, Isaac. And for the record, I am a mentor myself to many young journalists. I do not charge a fee. We do it just to give back to society and to give back to the profession that has made us who we are. Now, Pamela, let's go back to the family setup. In the modern day family, parents or whoever adults are in the house are far too busy to give that informal or mentorship from the home as a starting point. That's a challenge.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and most recently, there's been an involvement and an engagement in the rat race. That's what we call it. And even if it's not the rat race, we're finding the pressures of life just creating a lot of demand on fathers, mothers, elder sisters, aunties, and things like that. And something I'd like to say, because I know that we have people in the family unit who are listening to us today, Joseph, is that you could be out there and you know that you have not been present at home, you've not been available for your child or your niece or nephew. I'd like to just tell you that it is okay. That is in the past. You can actually decide to make time and be deliberate about spending quality time with the people that are around you. Let me share this, something that I had to do when I was in a very busy job. And we are all very busy. So one of the things that I do as a mother is to just make sure that meal times are meaningful. Try this and make sure that if it's breakfast, even if it's 30 minutes in the morning, just before your children dash out to school, or those who go to school and those who don't, before you leave the house, make your breakfast time meaningful. If it's 20 minutes, let's have everybody seated around whatever you have. Not everybody has a dining table. Whatever you have everybody sit there, no gadgets, nothing, and just eat and look into each other's eyes and say, good morning, how was your day? I love you, have a good day. If it's lunchtime, make it meaningful. If it's dinner, make it meaningful. Let it be a routine. That way, even though you're busy and always away from home, you know you have at least 30 minutes or an hour with your children or with your significant other where you actually give them your all. You give them uninterrupted time and that attention. That would do. You can imagine if you do an hour with your child or with your significant other every single day, that's sufficient. So I just want to encourage daddies, mummies, there are some nannies also who act like parents. Whoever you are out there and you keep feeling guilty and you keep feeling you can't do it again, can we just agree from today that you'll actually be positive about it and give whatever you can, your 30 minutes. It's important. And one last thing I'd like to say, just to add to what Isaac said about mentorship, I just want to pose a challenge to everybody listening to us here. Whatever you're doing, who is going to take your place? Always ask yourself that. We have cameramen on studio, people helping us around us, Joseph, everybody, people at NTV. Whatever you do today, 2 days from now or 1 week from now or a year from now, who is going to take your place? I like what you said, that you people in the media industry have a coaching environment where you're raising young people. You can imagine, Joseph, if everybody thought that way, from the president all the way to the community, to the church, everybody said, the day I leave what I'm doing, I will not leave a gap. I'm going to grab 5 young people and I'm going to walk alongside them. And Isaac, I take the challenge, not necessarily charge it, because not many of us can afford it, but I'm going to make sure that when I leave, there's going to be 5 or 10 people who can take up what I do.
Okay.
It will be great.
Pamela, thank you. Riga, to you now, hoping our connection is much better now. You mentioned that just like myself, you were raised by a single mom. Where did you?
Yes.
How did you plug the gap? You know, there's a challenge of the boy child in a single parent household. How did you plug? You know, where did the daddy mentorship come from?
So to be honest, the daddy mentorship came from being in church and being around faith. So where I had extended family, I had uncles, my mom's brothers and cousins who stepped in here and there, but mostly it came from church, from pastoral lead. Took the time to listen to me and speak into my life and encourage me and affirm my journey.
Okay, Rika, thank you. Now, Samuel, a lot of people, including people who have sent in comments to the program today, say, I have no mentor. Is it possible for someone to have no mentor in a world of over, is it 8 billion people now?
Interesting question. I will refer to what one of the viewers said just a few minutes. I think that was Peter Kathalu, who said, and I quote, there is nobody who has no mentor, even if you don't know. That's the reason why people behave the way they do. End of quotes. So you may say you have no mentor, but let me tell you, my brother, my sister, you actually have mentors that are influencing you unconsciously. They are influencing you without knowing. They could be the musicians like Riga. They could be leadership coaches like Pamela. They could be sports people like Isaac. They could be people in the media, just like our host today, Joseph. They could be people in the village that you have, where you grew up from. It could be that teacher that taught you. You are not aware that they have been mentoring you. Because while there is deliberate mentorship, there is also unconscious, unintentional mentorship. So what we are saying now is, can you now take a second step and make it intentional and make it deliberate? And ensure that you don't leave those who mentor you, to chance. You don't leave it to chance. You don't allow just everybody and anybody to influence you and speak into your life. Instead, you decide that from today onwards, I'm going to be intentional with who speaks to my life, who guides me, who advises me. And so let me move out and find a mentor and sit at their feet and have a heart of learning and listen to them and be willing to grow. Okay. And hear what they tell me to do and go on and practice. Doing things intentionally. My brother Joseph, intentionality is the cradle of personal development. It's the birthplace of innovation, creative thinking, and the ability to move forward in life. So you may say, but what you're talking about is that you have not been deliberate about who is mentoring you. But you have a mentor, those people who are influencing you without you being aware. Make it deliberate now. Be intentional.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Samuel. Isaac, I want you to close the program for us in just your final thought to those who are watching you, and any word of advice, young people, especially from even underprivileged backgrounds, in a few seconds.
Yes, I want to pose a challenge to all of us to pick a young boy and young girl in the community and mentor them. There's joy in mentoring. You invest your time and resources, but there's joy in giving, and mentoring is very much satisfying and fulfilling. So for young professionals, for all of us, I think it's a challenge I'm posing to us to look around in our neighborhood, in our communities, and mentor someone. And you feel the joy of mentoring, joy of service. That's my challenge.
Thank you.
To all of us.
Challenge well taken. Thank you so much, Isaac. Well, just before we close, we've got some comments from you through our hashtag New Normal, and this is what you've been saying. Well, we asked you, do you have a mentor? Why did you choose them? What value do you get from the mentorship? And this is what you've said. Mwange Kivai, Isaac, humility defines a mentor, given that the learning principle requires the learner to be better than the teacher. Okay, thank you. And another one here from Davis Binolwatch. Mr. Peter Quest remains to be instrumental in my life. Thank you so much. And another Muli Kyoko, you say, my mentor is Harrison Nganga. Napenda ye sana. Okay, ungetuambia kwa nini? And Gary Siondo Diambo, my mentor is Paul Ayub. He's an intelligent, hardworking, respectful, and warm-hearted man whose home has been another home to me. When I visit, I feel like a teen again, young, energetic, and always ready to learn. Long live Pops and Mom, Faith Ligami. Okay, thank you so much for that. Cosmos Busini, you say, my shosho. She told me at an early age the importance of hard work, generosity, and kindness. That you should just give and don't expect anything back. She told me to pray the Holy Rosary and be close to God. Thank you, Cosmos, and those thoughts about your grandma. Thank you so much to my panel, Pamela Munyi, who's a leadership coach and founder at Sheaves Coaching and Mentoring Limited. We also had Riga, who is a musician, composer, producer, also mentoring young artists. Samuel Bakutana joined us from Uganda. He is an executive coach and a leadership consultant, as well as Isaac Masharia, who's a retired athlete and mentor. That's all we have time for. Now, tomorrow we're talking about books. What are you reading? Why are you reading? What are you thinking of writing? Join